my name is Mindy Johnson, and welcome to the 2021 Spark Animation Festival. We are so excited that you've joined us and appreciate your continued support of the great, vital efforts within the Spark range of programs and content. Within our legacy track, I am really thrilled to share with you this remarkable session exploring aspects of our collected animated past. And it's my great pleasure to introduce one of the most brilliant visual development artists that we have within animation today, maybe even ever. Ralph Eggleston, a multi-award-winning storyteller, animator, art director, storyboard artist, writer, director, and production designer, known for his legendary work on virtually every Pixar film, as well as every great classic, other early great classics such as Fern Gully, Last Rainforest, The Simpsons, Garfield, and so much more. Lucky us, we get to celebrate with him an anniversary on his Oscar-winning short, For the Birds. So we are here to enjoy a little behind-the-scenes peek on the making of this remarkable film. So Ralph, take it away.
Well, good. Thank you, Mindy, and thanks Sparks Animation Festival. This is an honor, and I'm gonna try not be too sloppy in how I pull this together so I can start sharing my screen and get this going. My name is Ralph Eggleston, and I've worked at Pixar Animation Studios since I was hired in 1992, working in various capacities. I've done a little design, art direction, production design, character design, consulting here and there. Kind of, I'll do anything. I love working in film and animation, and that's what I've always wanted to do. These are a few shots of Pixar. Just, you know, this is what I get to see every day I go into work, and it's very inspiring to see the artwork hanging around on the walls and changing every day on the various productions. Usually at the beginning of a project, this is what my office looks like, and this is what it can look like by the time I'm done. So yeah, we really get into it there. Today I'm going to talk about the making of my short film, For the Birds. There was an open call at Pixar for short film ideas, and I decided to pitch this idea that it originated when I was in school. I wanted to make it into a short film then, but dreaded the idea of having to draw all those birds. I mean, it's a lot of work. This is some of the work I put together when I was in school. It was actually part of a design project for our teacher, Bob Lindquist. As I began getting ready for the open call to pitch, I gathered up all my old sketches and I made a few new ones and pitched the idea. I was really surprised, as surprised as anyone, when they gave me the go ahead and make the short film. So every short film, every film starts with an idea. This idea originally came about on long drives to my grandma's house out in the country. I'd see the bird when I was a little kid, you know, I'd kind of be bored sometimes. I'd be looking out the car windows, we're driving by all the cornfields, and I'd see the birds gathering on the telephone wires the whole way. I always wondered what they were thinking. So as I was getting together all of my materials to begin making the short film, I revisited everything I had previously thought of, and also did some new research. I looked around for other kinds of birds, but came back to my original storyboard sketches, which you'll see in a moment. The little blackbirds I'd seen as a kid. For the large bird, again, I scoured images for big, goofy-looking birds, but with the cartoony nature of the blackbirds I'd settled on, I decided on a combination of large, gawky birds for my needs, rather than one particular kind of bird. Every film is about drama, and contrast equals drama. Although the film is short, I wanted what I was putting across to be as clear as possible. Before I jumped into creating the story reels, I broke down the basic idea into these images to help keep me on track. Small, and big. It's my Sesame Street training coming back to haunt me. And also light and heavy. So those were really my goals as I set about kind of pulling together the ideas for the film and storyboarding the film. Since I wasn't sure what my resources on the film and making the film would be, because it took second place to the feature work I was doing and also the feature work being done all across the studio. So while the film was a very short film, it took about 2 years to make. I knew that going in that it was going to take a while, not quite 2 years, but I knew it was going to take a while because of that. And so when I storyboarded the film, I actually, I kind of overboarded it, mainly to be as clear as possible and to everyone coming onto the film whenever they could come onto the film so they could hit the ground running and know what to do. So I'm going to show you the early story reel now. And there's no music to this, just some sound. So I'm going to stop there in case anyone here hasn't seen the film and can be surprised about the outcome. Of course, I began some character designs. It was funny. At one point, I felt as though these storyboard drawings that I had done were too simple in terms of the design. And so I went about kind of doing more research on different kinds of birds, like I said earlier, and overcomplicating it. I just did, and I realized that I need to come back to the simplicity of what I had in the reels and make what I had work. I think it was the right approach. So this is actually the extent of a model sheet that I did at the time for the bird. A little painting I had done on an early version. I don't think this was Photoshop. I think it was Amazon Paint. We didn't have Photoshop yet, or I did anyway. And a little pastel that I had done of the birds. This is the larger bird. Again, this was to give guidance to a sculptor that we were bringing onto the show that I'll talk about in a moment. I'll show you some of the sculpts. These are some character sketches I did of the bird. I began in the industry as an animator, and so it's just like in my blood to kind of try and pose things out. And some little gouache paintings I did for describing some of the textural ideas I was having. The set design is it's basically one set, but it's got two parts. There's an upper and a wire portion, and then a lower and ground portion. Again, I didn't want to overcomplicate anything for both readability issues and production complexity issues. I didn't want it to get overly complicated. There's a painting I did of the telephone pole. The wires are on for the birds. This is a little pastel I did of the wheat field behind them. Wanted to keep it very cartoony and very simple. And the fence post behind them. with the barbed wire and the staples in the wood. I have a tendency to overthink things so that I can let go of what's not important, you know, so I put everything in. And these are some of the sculptures that were done. So the large bird and the small bird. There were about 20 something animators, actually more, 20 animators on a short that had 50 shots in it. And again, that was part of the world we were living in that I would get an animator for about half a week to do a shot over a 2-year period. So I would, you know, be able to get whoever I could, you know. And I'm so grateful that they were all able to help. My directing animator, Jim Murphy, was the only animator on the project full-time, working with me over not full 2 years, but at least 8 or 9 months. And it was terrific. So it's been really interesting after the short film was released. Had a terrific response, and I was lucky enough to become, there's a few things about it that are really interesting. One is, and I genuinely had no idea about this, was the idea of it has been and still is used in schools across the world as a tool to teach kids on bullying, about bullying. I genuinely had no idea that this was a thing, and yet there it is. And so, although I didn't set out to make a big statement about bullying, there it is. You know, I was making a little riff on a Chuck Jones cartoon, you know. So really cool. I love the idea that they're getting to see the short all together and are discussing that. It's just a wonderful thing. The other thing, of course, was For the Birds was nominated and luckily won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short. And our key crew, this is Jim Murphy from left to right, Jim Murphy, Karen Dufalo, myself, and Bill Wise. We all got to go. The second picture here is all of us arriving at the Oscars in our rented limo. We're very, very nervous. I think you certainly see it in my eyes. It's the only eyes you can see. So, but you know, much later that night, after I've been lucky enough to win, I was back in my hotel room to enter the deluge of really nice congratulatory notes I'd gotten on my computer. My favorite note that I got, an email I got, was from a really good high school friend of mine, his mom. When we were kids in high school, junior high and high school, we would spend the summer making Super 8 movies, animated films, little live action things. You know, they were all horrible, but we were learning as well. One of the recurring themes in some of our films was zombies, and we would make brains out of rigatoni pasta, a little bit of red food coloring, and some gelatin. In order for it to set, we put it in my friend's mom's refrigerator overnight for the next day's shoot. So that night, right here, you can see the smile on my face is looking at her email. But, you know, it was the best one I got, and I saved it, you know. And all it said was, and I quote, "I just knew the brains in the back of my fridge would come to a good use someday." That's all she said. And I still love that. So the second story I wanted to talk about, this happened actually a few years later. I was awakened one night. I was sound asleep. I was awakened one night by the ping of a new email arriving in my inbox. I don't know why, but I decided to get up and take a look and see who might be writing me at what turned out to be 2 a.m. in the morning. It was an email from Steve Jobs to my home address, which I don't know how he got, but there you go. I need to set this up a little too. It's important to remember that one of the early competitors to Steve and Apple's iPod was Microsoft's Zune or Zuni. I'm not sure how to say it. It didn't really work out for Microsoft, but there you go. The email was sent only to me from Steve and had no other note on it other than the following pictures and the words, "Cheers, Steve." The first two pictures are of Microsoft's Steve Ballmer showing off the new device. But the last one was what he was watching on it, and it was for the birds. And I love that Steve got such a kick out of that. He thought enough to send it to me. So that is what I have to say about For the Birds. I really appreciate Mindy and Sparks asking me to give this talk, revisiting the short, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed the talk as well. Thank you very much.